What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of the Johnny's Report. I'm your host, Jay Hollihan. The other day, we found out the start times and some of the network changes this year to your Big East basketball viewing audience, and a different look and different channels to find the Johnnies for this upcoming season. We'll talk about that on this episode. All right, well, I'm not going to go through every single start time and what channel they're on for this episode, but I will talk about some that stick out. First, tipping things off this season, Quinnipiac, November 3rd on Monday, 6:30. You can find that on FS1. I wonder if that's going to be that whip around Big East coverage that Fox sometimes do. I personally don't like it because if I want to watch my team, I want to watch my team and my team alone. But a lot of the times, that's not the case. So we'll see what happens here. Alabama, second game of the year. That's going to be an a noon tip on November the 8th. That's going to be on FS1 at MSG. St. John's first MSG game this season. And then the following game, which is the next weekend, will be on True TV against William and Mary. Bucknell, the following game, which is going to be a Thursday, that's going to be on TNT and True TV as well. So I can't recall ever having to tune in to a St. John's game on True TV. I guess I don't necessarily pay attention all that often as to what station St. John's is on. I mean, usually if it's Fox, okay. If it's CBS, okay. Then the occasional Peacock game, which we'll get to in a moment. But True TV is a new one because usually that station, I remember watching, I think, Alabama, Oregon last year, I think it was, or Alabama, Houston on True TV. That was in the Players Championship, the tournament St. John's will be playing in this year. That entire tournament for St. John's also, I believe, will be aired on True TV. So that's the only other time from the 64 or 68 team tournament, March Madness, that I have to go to True TV to find games. I mean, that just doesn't usually happen. So it's just kind of odd, if you will, that a game against William and Mary will be aired on True TV. Not that I'm necessarily complaining, because listen, if the opportunity is there to use that station, use it, because there are only so many chances you can get to air St. John's in around the country. The William and Mary game, I'm sure, is not going to necessarily be a nationally televised game if they will be using that as a regional station. I'm not sure. I don't believe so. But regardless, it should be on in every single house if you have cable. Now, as for the Players Era Championship, that's obviously going to be nationally broadcasted. Once that's wrapped up, St. John's will come home to take on Ole Miss December the 6th. That's going to be a Saturday game. That'll be on Peacock. St. John's will also be on Peacock against DePaul December the 16th. And then they will be on Peacock a couple more times against Butler on January the 6th, 7 o'clock. And then against Marquette at home, January the 13th, against Villanova at now Xfinity Mobile Arena. That'll also be on Peacock. So we're at 5 Peacock games. Number 6 comes at home against Butler, and then number 7 against DePaul. That'll be February 3rd, and then the Butler game, January 28th. So, I'm sorry, we got one more as well. UConn, February 25th, that's going to be on Peacock too. And another one after that, Georgetown, which is on March the 3rd. So you got 9 Peacock games there. And then usually for the Big East tournament, I know we had one against Butler to get things underway. So we'll see if that's going to be the case again. Here's the Peacock issue. And I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, for this multiple times. I don't care that you're using your streaming services. If you're a company that has the power to have a streaming service like ESPN does with ESPN Plus, and you're able to stream games, that's fine. But ESPN Plus is its own thing because of how many games ESPN has and the fact that, listen, someone out there may just care about Ithaca taking on, Siena for the field hockey regular season game. I'm sure that's not even two teams that match up against each other. The only two that I could think of off the top of my head. Don't ask why. But when it comes to the fact that St. John's and UConn is going to be a Peacock game and not, hey, I can get it on cable on NBC, I've always found this very weird as to why sports entities like the NFL, a Major League Baseball, they solely want to have their games streamed. To me, it makes no sense. And it's not, St. John's and UConn, it's not, no offense to Butler, but it's not St. John's Butler. It's not St. John's DePaul, where, hey, maybe there's a better matchup that night. You know what? I'm sorry. We got to put you on Peacock. But let's be real here. Why is St. John's and UConn featured on Peacock? What sense does that make? It's mind-boggling to me. I'm not sure necessarily what NBC will be airing that day that they can't air St. John's UConn. I mean, it's not as if I don't even think they have the Super Bowl game this year, but if they do, it's not as if NBC will be airing the Super Bowl on March the 3rd, right? So, and yes, that is a rhetorical question because there ain't no way in hell it's happening. So why is it that St. John's needs to play on Peacock? And actually, I had that date wrong. February 25th, not March 3rd. That's Georgetown. February 25th. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. I'm not sure what the idea is there. Possibly, I know the NBA moving to NBC. That could be the case. But, and it's nothing against Peacock or anything like that. It's why is that why is that the avenue we're taking? And why, if you want to have it for people that solely stream, sure. You want to have the option to be able to watch that game? Yes. But for those that have cable, I know it's not something that's necessarily with the times, if you will, because it's kind of an outdated thing now. Not a lot of younger audiences are using cable, using YouTube TV or Hulu or whatever streaming service you have. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have Peacock. I mean, I, for one, don't have YouTube TV or Hulu Live TV, so I don't necessarily know, but I'm assuming you can't get Peacock through that. I cannot imagine that people that even stream would want to say, oh, you know what, I got to download this too. Because think about how many of these apps you have. How many of them do you actually use? Like the NFL Tonight on Amazon Prime. Do you really watch shows on Amazon Prime? I mean, really. The only reason I have the option, Amazon Prime really is to be able to watch the NFL. Same thing with Apple TV. It was that and Ted Lasso. And I know they're trying to boot that up again, but it's not even like I can watch Ted Lasso anymore because it's, series ended. Although, again, I think they're trying to reboot it. So the only reason I watch Apple TV now is for Friday Night Baseball. It makes no sense. And it makes it so much more complicated to be like, okay, where do I have to, where do I have to look tonight in order to see where St. John's is playing, see where my team is playing? It really doesn't add up. And listen, I know I'm probably going to sound like, old man yelling at cloud, but it's just wild to me that that's the avenue that they are taking. And the True TV thing, it's not crazy, to have a game on there. I mean, they only use that station for the tournament. So I think it's nice that they're actually using it for other things. TNT will at times also be carrying the game, but it, of course, says TNT/True TV. So I imagine wouldn't be aired on both. But again, back to the whole streaming thing, it makes it so much tougher for the viewing audience in order to be able to watch the game. Again, it's nice to have as a secondary thing, like, hey, it's available here and it's available on Peacock. But just having it on one is just ridiculous. And it's also an inconvenience if you're a fan like myself and, hey, St. John's is at the half. Oh, Kentucky and Tennessee are on ESPN. Let me see what's going on there. Well, and this is I know how this is going to sound, but to have to sit there and have to go from, okay, I got to go from HDMI 2 back to HDMI 1 or whatever. You put up with it, but it's like, come on. It was so much easier. You could just go last, boom, right back to the game. Just flip back and forth. I think that's something that also turns away fans as well. But at that point, you do have to get with the times. However, I will say that is another slight inconvenience as well. But let me know what you guys think. Follow us on X at The Johnny's Report. Subscribe to Big East Energy Network. We'll have more stuff coming your way as we near closer and closer to the start of the 2025-2026 St. John's season.